All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Kol Haloyim La, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Wachakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful electors scattered abroad. The Akim, the Aqua that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing, that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab on back at you with another lesson. All right, and going into the title, this is going to be a short epistle. All right, because I ain't really got, they pushed my ass back on my StreamYard. So I only got 20 hours. So I got to be quick with my lessons till I end up paying for the month. But yeah, so it's going to be a quick short epistle. Going into the title, if any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And that's something we have to take into consideration. All right. Then when you speak, we speak not of our own private interpretation. You know, we don't speak of our own hearts. All right. Of our own opinions. Okay. Because it's all about Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day. All right. So when we speak, you know, precept upon precept, line upon line, basically. Here a little, there a little, right? Because through the precepts is how you get understanding through the scriptures. All right. So when we speak, we have to speak as the oracles of Yahawah. Okay. Let me bring out 1 Peter 4:11. It says, if any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Yahawah. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Yahawah giveth, that Yahawah in all things may be glorified through Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Okay. So going into that word, all right, oracles. All right, real quick. One second. All right, going into that word oracles, right? Goes into legion. All right. And that word goes into a brief utterance, a divine oracle. Okay. It says, point that I really want is right here. It says in the NT, right, in the New Testament, the words or utterances of Yahawah. You see? So when we speak, we're going to speak in the wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You see? And if any man lack wisdom, all right, ask Yahweh, okay, and it'll be given to you liberally, which is something that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is glad to give you, all right, without a problem. Because, you know, he wants those, scripture say he loves none other than them that dwell with wisdom. All right, wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, around the 28th verse, around there. All right, so the Lord loved none other than those that speak, all right, wisdom, that want to learn wisdom. You see? So we have to utter the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? When you go into that word legion, right, it also goes into, and one second, legios, all right, and it goes into a learned or a man of letters, okay, skilled in literature and the arts, okay, skilled in speech, eloquent, all right, so you have to be skilled in speech. All right, this is why you're supposed to study to show thyself approved, okay, as the scriptures tell you. All right, and again, you know, can't be afraid to speak the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that knowledge that he has brought upon us. You know, he has shed light upon us, so we have to let that light shine, okay? And, you know, some of us might not be as, you know, great as others, all right, but what did the Lord say to Moses when Moses said, I am not eloquent of speech, all right? He said that go out there and who has created man's mouth, all right? Who has created the dumb? Who has created the blind, right? He said, go out there and I will put the words in thy mouth. You see, the Lord is what's going to put those words in your mouth to be able to speak as the oracles of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, and the more that you speak, it becomes repetition to you. Okay, the more you do it, the more you get accustomed to it, the more you'll be sharp when it comes to speaking this word of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, and you go into that word lagios, right? Lagios, yeah. It goes into lagos. All right, that's the word. The root word of legios is lagos, right? And it says, I'm gonna go straight to the point. There's a couple different definitions there, but the main one is of the moral precepts given by Yahawah. You see, precept upon precept, line upon line, right? Because to thy precepts, Salaki, through thy precepts you get understanding. Okay, so speaking through the moral precepts, all right, shows your true light that Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shah has shined upon you. Okay, it also says, I'll just read this one part real quick. All right, it says, reason, cause, ground. All right, because you're grounded in the truth. All right, so you can speak in that manner. Right, it says in John, denotes the essential word of Yahawah Shah HaMashiach, the personal wisdom and power in union with Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai. You see, because we're in sync with the Lord. All right, so being in sync with the Lord, all right, he's going to sup onto you, you're going to sup onto him. All right, that makes y'all both in sync. All right, and then you're able to deliver the message, okay, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, and you save both you and those that hear, all right, by speaking in the correct manner. Okay, we have to make it plain upon the tables for everybody to understand it. Okay, without confusion. All right, not beguiling anyone, but rightly dividing the word of truth. All right, let's grab this. This is 1 second. This is so like, cause I ain't got no Wi-Fi in here, so I gotta be on point how I put it in. Here, 1 second. Oh man, that was the worst word I could have put. It's got so many words. Yeah, that's the worst word I could put. I just put the word here, and man, there's like a million scriptures with the word here. But that's all right. I got a different precept I got to mind right now. Come on. So many damn words. Yeah, it's too many words. Keeps too many. All right, so let's do this. This Colossians 4 and 6. All right. And it says, let your speech be always with grace and seasoned with salt. Okay. That you may know how ye ought to answer every man. All right. So, to be, seasoned with salt. All right. Forgot what the word goes into that, the root word of seasoned. All right. But seasoned, being flavorful. Okay. Because at the end of the day, it goes into preparing, food. All right. And when we speak these scriptures, it's what? It's food for thought. Okay. So, it has to be seasoned. All right. To be seasoned, all right, is speaking the utterance of the words that the Lord has, provided for us, in these scriptures. Okay. Let me do this. Let's see if I can get that word out. Probably won't be able to. Nah, it's not letting me. Oh, actually it did. All right. Yeah. So when you go into that word seasoned, right, it goes into R2O, right? And it goes into to prepare, arrange with respect to food. All right. Yeah, because we have to prepare what we're about to say, That's why you're supposed to meditate on it. Okay. Meditate on the things before you go out and give that speech. All right. You're supposed to meditate on the word of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai. So when you deliver that message, all right, you deliver it nice and plain, clear, and straight to the point. All right. You're supposed to let your words be short. Okay. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't come out like that. All right. Because that's just the spirit of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai, upon you to bring out this word. All right. But to the best of your advantage, all right, you try to bring it nice and short. All right. So it says to prepare. Okay. Again, you are preparing food for thought to the people. So, this word being your food, your daily bread, it has to be seasoned. You see, arrange and with respect. All right. Yeah. To make it sanctified, to make those words holy. Okay. Now let's grab a couple more precepts and I'll pretty much close out. All right, because like I said, it's gonna be short. I gotta keep it short. This is Slovakia. Going back to Colossians, right? I mean Slovakia. This is Proverbs. Proverbs 10 and 21. And it says, the lips of the righteous feed many. Okay. Remember, food for thought. So, we're feeding the sheep. All right. And you want the sheep to understand Yahawah Shai's voice, right? My sheep hear my voice and they follow me. Okay. So you're making it easy and plain for them to understand. Okay. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. See? And these fools, that walk around without the knowledge of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai, this is why they have been rejected. Okay? Because, they have rejected the Lord's wisdom. All right? The Lord said, my people are destroyed from the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Okay? So again, the Lord, is not opening up your mind to receive that food. Okay? It says, let me grab this. This is Proverbs 16 and 21. The wise in heart, okay, the wise in the mind shall be called prudent, and sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. You see? So you're making it plain upon the tables in order for them to understand it. Okay, so they can increase in learning. You see, when you're making that uncertain sound, all right, and you're not dominating the conversation with precepts, okay, because that's what you're supposed to be doing, dominating, all right, the conversation at all times with the precepts of Yahawah Bashim Yahweh Shai. See, you can't be sitting there just rambling on about your life, rambling and rambling. All right, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with Yahawah Shai. All right, so the truth always has to dominate the conversation. Okay, that's why the scriptures tell you in 2 Peter's the 3rd chapter, right? that what manner ought we to be in all holy conversation, okay? And in holiness and godliness, you see? Because that's what's going to be made manifest and be able to be understood, okay? Let's read that again in 16 and 21 in Proverbs. It says, the wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of lips increaseth learning. Okay? And you go down to God damn, shit hit hard. 23. All right. Matter of fact, let's just go 22. It says, understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that has it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and addeth learning to his lips. Okay, you're increasing yourself in knowledge with that oil. You see, out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. That's what you ultimately want to get to the point where you are flowing like rivers of living water. Okay, it says pleasant words, verse 24, pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. You see, so when speech is is framed righteously, all right, in the correct manner, in order, right, and according to Yahawah Bashim Yahawah, it delighteth the ears. You see, it'll delight the ears, and people will understand, and it draws them, it intrigues them to the word of Yahawah Bashim Yahawah more and more. You see, and that's how you gain, that's how you gain fruit. Okay, that's how you steer the conversation constantly to Yahawah Bashim Yahawah. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to touch on through the spirit. So Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawah, Call Haloyim La Yahawah, Bahashem Yahawah, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, and doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shah. Shalom.